So, today, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, have you ever played a ship, thought it was a brilliant ship to play, so much so that you wish it was a real person, so you could literally tell it thank you for being so good? Well, you better not have, because then you would have stolen my video idea, and I would have been fairly angry. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to be going through ships, both good and bad, and extrapolating, shall we say, into what kind of people these ships would be if they were reincarnated into real people. Sometimes when I'm streaming at twitch.tv/startcalling, I see ships performing some maneuvers that, if they were real people, would make me question their sanity. But then I realized I'd been playing random battles and there's actually a real person actually controlling that ship. And that scares me a little bit more, because usually it's like looking in a mirror. But today, we're not going to be discussing the players or berating them. I'll leave that for my stream. So let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be a fairly quick video, so be prepared. It's going to be over faster than a game with 15 Deadeye battleships in it. So now let's actually get into it. So, we have the Thunder, a ship that needs no introduction. Mostly because when you meet it in game, the only thing it'll be introducing you to is the death animation. But what if the Thunder was a real player? What would be some of the characteristics that would describe that player? Well, first of all, based on just how strong this ship truly is, the type of player that the Thunder would be described as, well, let's just say it could be considered an aquatic animal of considerable size. Mostly because it's a premium ship, and we all know just how much wargaming are swayed by the power of the wallet. Moving on, I said this would be quick. Now, I never said we were going to dwell on ships, and just like that, we're moving along to the Kremlin. Now, the Kremlin, if it were a player, would be a member of the KGB, because I swear to God, this ship has basically disappeared from the face of the earth in the past while. I mean, seriously, this ship used to be what the Thunder is now, and now no one plays it. Interesting. Although, just like the KGB, at some point in the future, they'll probably pop up and put an unknown substance in the water, and suddenly you've been one-shot. I'm probably on a list right now somewhere in Moscow. Anyways, I better get moving along. Daring. Daring. What kind of player would one of the strongest DDs in the game be? Well, for one thing, the guy would probably be a massive masochist, because playing DDs in this meta is one of the most bananas things I've ever experienced. I mean, I play DDs on my stream, again, twitch.tv/startcalling, blah blah blah, and I'm literally having mental breakdowns every other game, which, sure, makes for great entertainment, but I'm not sure it's great for my mental health. So, I guess the daring is... me? Nice. So I wasn't, and usually don't talk about the class that shall not be named, but I thought for the purpose of this video I would make an exception. The FDR, also known as the Frederick III Revolting, the type of player that this ship encapsulates is the playstyle of sitting at the back and trying, and sometimes successfully one-shotting enemy ships, usually me and my daring. Not because you aimed correctly though, but because they absolutely couldn't miss even if they were blindfolded and you turned off their computer monitor. There. That's probably going to be the only mention of carriers for a long time. Let's switch it up. So the Swagagagali, this is a ship that I got in a container, and also one that I can't pronounce the name of. So the container was for the most recent lunar events, so it kind of sticks with the theme. And I thought to myself, nice, we got a whole ship in a container. I'm so lucky. And then I played it. So the type of player this ship would be is someone that wouldn't even be logged into the game, because this ship is so bad that trying to port this over to an actual human traits, would be an embarrassment to the entire human race. And I don't say that lightly, because generally I can find a way to shoehorn anything into a human. That sounded really bad. Anyways, if it wasn't for the fact that this ship is a premium, I would have already sold it, because the credits would be, probably be more useful than the actual ship itself, and probably still is, and I probably will sell it after I make this video. Anyways, so moving away from ships that anyone barely even notices, or even know they exist, we're now going to be talking about the gearing. Although I'm not sure that's actually moving away from ships like that. Well, we're going to be talking about the gearing anyways, at least for a little bit. The gearing, if it was a player, would be the player that has been playing since the very start of the game, basically, and they don't really watch streams or even YouTube videos about woes, or even post on Reddit complaining 3 times a day. Instead, they're the type of player that kind of just let the game pass them by. They're fairly average, never type in chat, and just play the game as a pastime and never cause all that much fuss. The gearing player is probably my favourite overall. Sticking with the US line, we're going to be giving a special mention to the Alaska. The Alaska player is a bit of a weird one. If we were to port this over to a human, it would probably be that guy that's 6 feet tall when they're 13 years old. I mean, a ship of this caliber being a tier 9 is a bit of a joke, to be honest, but not completely outside the realm of possibility. Now, another way to describe this player/ship combination could be that although they look like they have absolutely no idea what they're doing, they very quickly prove you wrong, i.e. when an inexperienced player sees an Alaska hugging an island, they think that it's going to be doing nothing all game, when in actual fact, the Alaska is the type of player to hold the line versus 3 battleships, while the guy that was talking rubbish to him is still trying to figure out how to point his guns in the general direction of the enemy ships. Yeah, that brings back PTSD. Okay, last one. This is going to be the last one. We're going to talk about the Groza Curve first. I honestly don't know how to describe the Groza Curve first in the form of a player without insulting a hell of a lot of the player base, but seeing as I've done it before, I guess I could do it again. So if the GK was a player, I would basically say that it's or they are fairly incompetent in basically every aspect of the game. I feel like I'm about to describe myself again. Anyways, so whether it be aiming, positioning, or just trying to get all your guns on the enemy ship's waterline without showing your entire broadside, seriously Wargaming, how do you think that's an appropriate way for the... fix the wire! Just fix the firing angles. The type of player that the GK encapsulates is fairly similar to it. They can't really aim, they don't know all that much about the positioning, but there is one thing they do exceptionally well. Press the W key, i.e. or just go running in real life. And thus, that's what they do. I guess the best way to describe the GK player is Mr. Bean. Basically, totally oblivious to anything going on in the game except for the very small thing they're focusing on. So that basically sums it up for another video. I sometimes play World of Warships on my stream, twitch.tv/darkcalling. I sometimes watch documentaries, sometimes I'm just going to do special events like ranking every tier 10 ship in the game. But you'll probably see that on YouTube too. So if you have some time to spare, drop by, I'd really appreciate it. But until next time, I'll see you all in the next one.